In recent weeks, the NASCAR community has been abuzz with fervent discussion and passionate debate surrounding the sport's bold vision for introducing extra horsepower into its races. This vision, characterized by its ambition to elevate the adrenaline-fueled excitement that defines NASCAR, has sparked a range of reactions from teams, drivers, and fans alike, with emotions ranging from anticipation to outright fury. NASCAR, an institution deeply rooted in American motorsport history, has long been synonymous with speed, power, and the thrill of competition. However, as the landscape of motorsport continues to evolve, so too does NASCAR's quest to push the boundaries of performance and spectacle. Central to this pursuit is the notion of injecting extra horsepower into the equation, a move that promises to amplify the intensity of racing and captivate audiences in new and exhilarating ways. However, there is a strong feeling of unhappiness in some parts of the NASCAR community that can be felt through the excitement. Teams are especially affected by this storm of emotions because they have to figure out how NASCAR's vision will affect their plans and strategies. For some, the thought of getting used to more horsepower is an exciting task that gives them a chance to show how smart and skilled they are on the track. For others, though, it makes them angry and scared because they have to change how they race and how they set up their cars. As tensions mount and opinions clash, NASCAR finds itself at a crossroads, navigating the delicate balance between tradition and innovation, competition and spectacle. The road ahead promises to be fraught with twists and turns as the sport braces itself for the seismic impact of this daring vision. It will only be time in the heat of competition to see if NASCAR's risk pays off or it goes down in racing history as a controversial experiment that didn't work out. After the recent race at Phoenix, discussions around increasing horsepower in NASCAR have reignited, with teams and engine builders asserting that they can easily enhance engine power. NASCAR, however, cites concerns about costs and attracting potential new manufacturers as reasons for not implementing higher horsepower. Despite an improved but not stellar race at Phoenix, the conversation has circled back to the idea of boosting horsepower for the Cup Series. Several prominent figures have argued that it's feasible to achieve higher horsepower without significantly increasing costs or time. While NASCAR remains steadfast in its commitment to cost containment and appealing to new manufacturers, it's evident that a new horsepower battle is brewing in the NASCAR community. NASCAR Cup Series Managing Director Brad Moran is examining the possibility of adding horsepower as the topic divides drivers and fans alike. The horsepower conversation has been one that's been raging on since the debut of the next-gen vehicle. It's difficult to pass on certain tracks, and clean air is a major advantage over the rest of the field, more than it's ever been. Some believe increased horsepower can put the power back into the driver's hands. Speaking with Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Moran explained what NASCAR is thinking regarding adding some more horsepower in the future. It's been talked about, more and more horsepower, Moran started. Smaller tires equate to the same thing. You get the same results when you're done. But in changing the plate and increasing the horsepower, that sounds relatively easy to do, and that part is certainly easy to do. But once we open up the horsepower, we have to have all three manufacturers obviously on board. Apart from the challenge of teams adapting to a new system, Moran also expresses concerns that altering horsepower could hinder NASCAR's efforts to attract new manufacturers to the sport. Specifically, Moran sees the addition of a new manufacturer, with Honda being a significant contender, as a key goal for NASCAR. The number we're at seems to be where we want to be to try to, get potentially new manufacturers interested in, Moran added. If we start getting away from that number, it can create problems in that area. But we're always open to everything. We do consider everything, and the engine gets talked about quite often. But there's a lot of different parties that have to agree before that one can happen. It's clear that NASCAR faces numerous hurdles in determining whether to implement an increase in horsepower. However, given the persistent calls from drivers for this change, it appears worth exploring. Ultimately, the decision rests on NASCAR's shoulders, and only time will tell what direction they choose to take in the future. Denny Hamlin, speaking on his Actions Detrimental podcast, expressed a willingness to find a compromise between what fans and NASCAR desire regarding horsepower. While he acknowledges the appeal of returning to 900 horsepower, he believes those days might be behind us for the foreseeable future. However, he suggests that NASCAR could try increasing horsepower at a test to gauge its impact, as he believes the outcome is predictable. Hamlin emphasizes the importance of showcasing driver skill over track position, noting that drivers like Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, and Christopher Bell consistently demonstrate their talent week in and week out. He argues that increasing horsepower could further highlight drivers' abilities, rather than relying solely on track position for success. Moreover, Hamlin points out that engine costs have remained constant despite changes in horsepower, suggesting that the financial aspect wouldn't be a hindrance to increasing horsepower. Therefore, he questions why NASCAR hasn't taken steps to implement this change. The engine bills are the same. I've been saying this forever. The engine bills are the same now as when they were 900 HP. We buy engines, we know. During a guest appearance on the Dale Jr. Download, Kyle Larson offered his perspective on the ongoing horsepower debate, shedding light on the complexities of the situation. Larson emphasized the importance of horsepower levels in attracting new manufacturers to the sport, noting the lack of new OEMs joining in his 10 years in the Cup Series. Scotty Maxim, the director of powertrains at Hendrick Motorsports, revealed that they could potentially have engines with 1,000 horsepower ready within a week. He mentioned that engine builders at Hendrick Motorsports are experimenting with increasing horsepower to 1,000 by modifying engines used in Larson's recent win at Las Vegas and installing them in one of Rick Hendrick's personal cars. Larson also shared his thoughts on the new short track package used at Phoenix, acknowledging slight improvements but expressing uncertainty about how to significantly enhance the racing experience at the track, despite the next-gen car promoting more equal performance among teams. Larson believed there was still room for manipulation and improvement in passing opportunities. However, he admitted that while the changes were noticeable, they weren't substantial enough to drastically alter the racing dynamics at Phoenix. Now, with the next-gen car, everybody's cars are more equal, so it's harder to move forward. But I thought you could manipulate the guy in front of you just a little bit more. It was slightly better. But it wasn't way different. For Phoenix, I don't really know what you can do to make it look amazing. He refutes the argument that maintaining lower horsepower is necessary to attract new manufacturers, pointing out that the sport has primarily been dominated by the same 3 manufacturers for over a decade, without any new entrants. Furthermore, Larson highlights assurances from engine builders and teams that increasing horsepower wouldn't result in additional costs, with the capability to bring engines with 1,000 horsepower without increasing expenses. Maybe somebody else is coming, and maybe they're the ones pushing for the horsepower, but I've yet to see anybody new come in. All these engine builders and teams are saying it's not going to cost any different. Our guys, we could bring 1,000 HP next week and it not cost any more. The ongoing debate over increasing horsepower in NASCAR has reached a boiling point, with drivers, teams, and fans clamoring for change. The frustration among teams stems from the perceived lack of action from NASCAR management in addressing this issue head-on. One of the key factors contributing to teams' ire is the discrepancy between NASCAR's claims about the cost implications of increasing horsepower and the assertions made by figures like Denny Hamlin, who suggest that engine costs remain consistent regardless of horsepower levels. Moreover, the insistence on maintaining lower horsepower levels to attract potential new manufacturers raises questions about NASCAR's priorities. While rumors swirl about the potential addition of Honda as a 4th manufacturer, there is a growing sentiment that NASCAR should prioritize improving the racing experience for the existing 3 manufacturers rather than solely focusing on enticing new entrants. With overwhelming support from fans and drivers alike for increased horsepower, there is a clear mandate for NASCAR to act. Engine builders have voiced their confidence in the feasibility of implementing higher horsepower engines without significant cost increases. In light of this, the call for NASCAR to conduct a trial race with higher horsepower engines appears justified, providing a tangible opportunity to evaluate the impact on the racing product. In the face of mounting pressure, it's imperative for NASCAR to listen to the voices of its stakeholders and take decisive action to address the horsepower dilemma. Failure to do so risks alienating both fans and competitors, further exacerbating the divide within the NASCAR community.